Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Fireside Hang. If we haven't met yet, my name is Samantha, and I am a senior DevRel engineer here on the Midnight team. I am super excited to be hosting my second Fireside Hang today, and I'm so glad you were able to join us today. Today, I am also joined with two of my colleagues, Bobby Lee and Stev, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Bobby Lee, you want to go for it?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Bobby Lee, Developer Education Manager here at Midnight, working on the DevRel team. So doing all things related to the Academy, Quest that we're talking about, the Ambassador Program, just getting things off the ground related to that. And then setting up partnerships with universities and online schools to get our ZK curriculum into their programming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Steph, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Hello, everyone. Some of you, if you don't know me, I'm Stev, DevRel here at Midnight. And yeah, happy to be here and look forward to the Fireside Hang and answering any questions you have as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you both on today. It's going to be super fun. Today we have a few things lined up for you all. First, Bobby Lee is going to be previewing our new Questing and Academy platform. It's going to be super awesome. And then Stev is going to be triaging and assigning some of our tickets in our community board. So it's going to be super fun as well. And then lastly, I'm going to be walking through my updated selective disclosure kind of compact code and asking for feedback from you all. So with that, we're going to start off with our new Questing and Academy platform. So Bobby Lee, let's jump in. Let's go for it.
Yeah, let me show my screen. Okay, so I'm not sure if anyone, this is basically what the board would look like. Zeely is, think of if you go to hackathons or if you are just part of any other dev community, they have questing, which is like little quizzes on things that you're either learning or, hey, tweet about what Midnight is up to. We'll give you some points. There's a lot of different things to do here that are related to obviously technical quests. So those are building an app or writing a piece of content. And then we'll have some more community engagement, if you will, quests. So it's a mix of, we're kind of mixing in both things, learning and community engagement. We thought Zeely be, if you go into Zeely, you would make an account. This is not live yet, just so you know, this is like the back end, but this is what it would essentially look like. And we're also still adding quests and may change some of these quests. So just know that as I'm previewing this right now. So it would kind of start out with, onboarding into Midnight, what is Midnight, checking out our docs, joining our forums, joining our Discord, following us on Twitter. And then it will kind of lead in then to our technical onboarding. So installing Lace Wallet, creating a wallet, and we'll have a few more onboarding tasks here. So that'll kind of all be in when you open up the Midnight Network Community Quest board. This is the first kind of onboarding board you would see. And then if you scroll down, you will have some more community engagement. So these really won't be technical. They'll be more, like I said, interacting with us on X, engaging in the forums, and then also in Discord. And they'll have kind of learning check-in posts. So if let's say you learn something in a technical discussion on the forums, or you learn something in Discord, or just looking through our docs, we'd love to know that. And so that would be a way to get points as well. And then we are going to put our Academy. So right now we have our Academy in our docs, and that's in about 7 modules. And we want to make that, those have a bit of, there's kind of, if you've been through it, there's a lot of content in each module. So I wanted to spread it out a bit more and add about, 20 different lessons. And we'll be adding more chapters onto this. And so that's kind of where we're going to have a bit of our learning. Yeah, our learning quest will be in here. And then once you finish this, you'll have enough points. So if you finish a bunch of quests in our community, or if you finish some of the quests in the onboarding and the certificate, essentially we're leading this then into our ambassador program. So if you finish our certificate, and we'll approve your project at the end, because we want you to, it's kind of the way to get into, it's a bit of explaining, but it's essentially finish all the lessons, let's say in the certificate program. Then we will have you submit your project at the end, a capstone project, submit it to a hackathon. So review it, If you don't have to win the hackathon, that's not really what this is about. It's just that we want to know what you learned in it, to really showcase what you learned. And so once that's done, you'll be able to apply for the ambassador program. And we're going to actually have that in probably a different community quest board. So you won't really see that in our normal quests board here. We'll have a private invite for that, and a bunch of different things you can do in there, which is, again, more technical, writing content, running a meetup. There's a lot of different things that we'll have into that program, but you won't see it really on this main community board. But yeah, we will be launching this soon, and we'll have a blog post explaining how to use Zeely, how to be a part of the ambassador program. We'll kind of be leaning that out, kind of wedging these programs all together. So learning, community engagement, ambassador program. And yeah, we'll have more information on that soon. But yeah, this is Zeely, and we're really excited. I'm sure maybe others have used this platform before. It's new to our team, and so we're excited. Essentially, this is what it looks like. You can do a couple different ways of what, if you want a different view or whatever. This is the different ways to look at the different quest boards. And we'll add more chapters on our, this is our main certificate academy program now, but we'll add more ways to learn and more chapters in here. And that's kind of it for that. That's kind of really all I was going to share for this showcase so far. And we'll be in touch soon when this will launch, and should be in a few weeks from now, to be honest. There's not much more our team needs to polish out here. And then we'll have the blog post, to explain a bunch of the ambassador program stuff and what's coming soon. So look out for that.
No, I think that's awesome. I know personally, I love having a very polished way to go through and learn everything. And the fact that this looks incredible, by the way. And I'm a fan of the colors. I know that has nothing to do with it, but the colors and everything, it's very appealing to the
Yeah.
I want to go.
I wonder if I can change
learn, it. Right? Yeah.
I don't really know. That's just automatically added.
Cool.
Yeah. We wanted a clean board of for it to be really obvious so people can work on, instead of us just being like, hey, here's ways to engage with our community. We wanted to measure your impact, and we wanted to highlight people that are doing awesome things. And this is just a much easier way for us to organize and give you ideas as well of ways to engage with us and to showcase what you've built. We want to see things, and we want to grow with you and showcase you and invite you to events and invite you to speak at different things. And so there's a lot of cool things coming soon to work with the community on here.
I love that so much. I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I think we have a couple of questions in the chat as well. The first one, I think a big comment of the UI looks amazing. Would love it if it would keep track of your progress and show you what you've already reviewed and picked up where you left off. I'm assuming that's going to be something that's either automatically there or it'll show up.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he means by what you've reviewed. I know, well, it definitely tracks your progress. Once you finish a quest, and some of them will be automatically give you points and some will not. So, well, obviously that'll all be inside Zeely, and you can log in as a user to see your progress. There's going to be a leaderboard, of course. And there's a lot of other communities in here too. So I'm sure it tracks maybe all of your things together as a user as well. But yeah, definitely keep track of your progress, because if we accept it, and then you'll get the points. So yeah, it's all a nice dashboard on the back end for users too.
Much. Awesome.
Yeah. And I wanted to mention this too. So some of the progress of where you left off. So don't think of this as you're going in here and you're going to add a blog post and you're designing it in Zeely, for example. Your progress would be, on your own Google Doc, and then you would, share that a link to us for the blog post, for example. Or if you're going through the lessons in the certificate program, it's essentially reading things, building things, and linking us to what you built. Or a quiz, if it's just a learning quest, for example, like, hey, read the history of blockchain, for example, would be maybe the first quest. At the bottom will be just like a check-in quiz. So it's not really like you've lost progress, because most of the work you'll be doing is outside of the platform. And then there's just simple quiz, there's quizzes at the end that's either a form or multiple choice or so it's kind of, you're not really, if that makes sense. Yeah, you're not adding like a blog post in here and then you might lose it. You have to save it. It would be kind of on your own time. And then you link us to a lot of the content is linked. So if you're tweeting something, just link us to the tweet so we can prove that you did that, stuff like that. So
got it. So more progress of like maybe the actual Academy modules, stuff that you've learned, the quizzes and stuff, that progress will be shown that that's completed. But the stuff where you're having to submit or do anything else is more kind of on your own, maybe machine somewhere else, and you're going to send a link to us.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think I don't know if it'll preview this to show you. So if you clicked on this one, take a look around, learn about Midnight. In your own words, what is Midnight Network and what brings you in? That would be, if you were doing some progress in here, I'm not sure if it would save it if you didn't submit it right away, for example, right? So that is something to take note. But, right here, visit this link. What programming language is best used for writing things? Multiple choice quizzes, joining us on Discord. These things are automatically tracked. So you'll want to add your Discord account to Zeely when you first log into Zeely and make an account. You want to sync your Twitter. You want to sync your Discord. So there's a lot of automated stuff that happens here. But yeah. And then join the forums, go to the forums, link us to your profile, for example. Those are kind of the ways we prove that you're engaging and you're doing some of these things.
That's great. I love that.
That's how it works. Yeah.
That is so exciting. And I think
oh, sorry. I was going to say some of them will have like if you try something, we'll have to wait like 24 hours to try again if you try it twice or something. Stuff like that we'll kind of have in so you don't just like run through the academy or the certificate program, super quickly. So that's kind of some gatekeeping there. So you keep learning and reading and slowing down and
pacing yourself.
Yeah.
I love that. I think probably all of us are going to be super excited when this comes to fruition for everyone. So, well,
yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So then I guess
if there's any more questions,
yeah, totally. Feedback in the chat or, of course, on Discord or anywhere else where you can reach us. But awesome. If that is it, thank you, Bobby Lee. That is amazing. And we can then switch gears and dive into our community board. So, Steph, you want to take it away?
Hello. I'm also excited to do those quests.
It'll be fun.
So it's a really slick platform. So we're going to talk a little bit about community board now. So I'm showing my fork just because it's a little prettier. But those of you who are not familiar with the community board, we basically have the community board where people can create bug issues, feature issues, content issues, and even like proposing DApp examples or widgets and such. Now, as things become open source, people will be able to make issues in their respective repos, but a lot of issues don't have a place to go. And this is kind of like almost like a do-all repo as well. And it also allows us to work in a transparent manner. And I kind of explained more about the community board value proposition and other Fireside hangs that are recorded and stuff. So I'm not going to go too into it, but that's kind of like the gist of it. And here's the community hub on the Midnight GitHub organization. But we have a bunch of issues in the community board, and some have actually been triaged already, but they haven't been moved over to the grab and go board. So long story short, community board collects all these issues, and then there has to be an actual triage of issues, because there might be some issues where, hey, this is a duplicate of something, or this is being worked on already, so the issue could just be rejected for those XYZ reasons. Or maybe the issue is like, hey, that sounds like a good idea, but I need more information on it. So that could go in like a needs a discussion column. For example, there's this one issue, which is like solidity versus compact. I think that's a great issue. Like, hey, I want to know the difference between the two. So this gets triage. Now it's supposed to automatically go in the grab and go board because that's like, hey, this is a great issue. Let's work on it. There's some automation that's supposed to be in there. And I'm going to test it live for you guys because I could have manually moved this but we just updated the token behind the repo like just before this call. So I'm like, why mess with the GitHub actions when I could just do it live in front of people? So let's see if it works.
This is so exciting.
Yeah, right. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. But I'm like, why not make the call a little bit more fun? So I'm going to untriage it because when I apply the triage label, it will automatically kick it over to the grab and go board, right? So let's try that. So I untriaged it. So now let's say we're discussing solidity versus compact. So this triage is a great issue. I think it's an awesome issue. And, maybe this is an issue that can also involve some of our partners, like Open Zeppelin has been working on ERC equivalency or approximation contracts in their libraries. This would be a great issue to tackle and maybe collaborate with some other people building in the space. So I think that should definitely be triaged. Obviously, the issue can be built out as well. But let's say this gets triaged, and then there should be an action that runs. Let's see. Let's refresh. Oh, you know what? I think I updated my own repo. No. Oh, wait, no, I gotta let's see here. Update triage 13 seconds ago. All right, so it didn't go through, but that's fine. I'll fix it. It's just an issue with the token, but that is fine. So I'll debug that soon. But you can imagine this triage issue is going to automatically go on the grab and go board. So that is fine. So part of the community board, for example, I saw John, I'm going to look in your chat really quick to reference your comment. For example, you asked, hey, I would love it if we could, you said something about tutoring or something like that. I don't know if I see your comment, or maybe your comment's gone from there. But for example, if you have workshops ideas, I would encourage you to go to the community hub and create a new issue. So, that's on my own repo. Let's go back to the right tab. I would encourage you to go to the, let's see here. Go to the Community Hub repo, create an issue, and maybe this is a DApp proposal, or maybe we need one as far as like a workshop proposal or something, or a live event type of thing. That would be cool. Because if you have a great, if you have a question or you want a workshop on a specific issue, why not create an issue, open in the public, where you can say, hey, I would love to know X, Y, Z. And then we can organize something to do with the community, because there's more value in us, let's say, doing a session like that with a lot of other people versus if it's just you and I. There's other people who probably have a similar question and would benefit from such a session. For example, there's one. I'm gonna be eventually doing another Cardano SPO workshop, and I'll be creating an issue for that and then making a call to action for people hey, come contribute to the issue and build out this workshop, because there's actually one partner. They're like, one of our partners. They're like, hey, we got nodes and stuff, data centers or whatever, but the Cardano part is really weird. So I'm like, okay, well, why don't we do a workshop and let's make it a big one where we have the broader community and partners all involved. It's a great refresher for some people who've done it before. But anyways, as far as triaging issues, we're also going to be adding vote automation. So I would say people who, if you've not been to the community board, if you look inside these issues and simply emoji react to them, for example, if you start emojing reaction to them, there's going to be some automation that's going to tally up the votes and rate things if they're popular or not. And this will allow people in the community and also in DevRel to prioritize these issues based on the popularity. For example, if we have all these issues and let's say there's like, hey, everyone's voting emoji, giving good emoji reactions to, Solidity versus Compact versus this historical piece such as History of Midnight. Obviously, we want to do what's popular. So if people found this extremely popular, then we will prioritize it into executing that type of content or example, etc. So I want to encourage everyone to go to the community board, go in this needs discussion column, and emoji react and comment on issues. This allows people to express what they want to see. For example, like, hey, I want a workshop session. All right, we'll create an issue for it. Tell me what you want to see, and let's do it with the broader community. Now we have some issues here in no status. So you can imagine in the community board, we can have dev Fireside hangs, maybe even other sessions if it's warranted. But I remember, I think John, you also suggested this one, and I created an issue for it. But you were like, hey, what if we could have like the BlockFrost API via like an MCP server, and then build, use that in your development environment for when you're doing like compact stuff. So in this issue, I don't have much in there, but this would go into like need discussion. But there's a bunch of issues here. Some are pretty redundant. For example, let's say here, History of Midnight. There's already a History of Midnight one here. So this would go into rejected. Compact glossary. Oh, some of these are lending platform adapt for wrapped fungible assets. So this one needs more discussion because someone actually made a so in the previous hackathon, I believe it was the second place winner did a shielded asset submission. This would be a really good one to follow up on with that. So I'll put that needs discussion. Building your first dApp. So this one, let me see here. This one's kind of like a Hello World application, so I'm going to throw that here. And some of these are kind of like issues and feedback that were from the community before. So for building your first dApp, and they'll give you a hint of what's coming for the documentation. There you see, if you go to the documentation, you'll see a quick start user and quick start builder. That's going to be scrapped for an entire getting started section. Because and it was really valuable to get so much time with the, there's like 70 hackathon people at Buenos Aires when we were there. Kind of shared similar feedback that you all have had where it's like, hey, I go through the tutorials, but they're kind of like isolated examples. So what we want to do from there is I'm going to create a ticket for the getting started section here as well. but you want to have getting started go through like a transitional thing where here this is you get you set up. Let's write hello world complication, and let's transition it to essential, I guess, components or widgets and adapt, which would be like setting up your development environment. All right, let's do the wallet. Okay, let's connect the wallet. Let's connect the UI. And this is a reusable deploy example. And then those are kind of like very essential components into adapt. And if I'm over time, please warn me. But
No,
triage is for open discussion. So I'm just ranting along. But yeah, but we'll eventually have a really nice getting started, and likely by the end of September as well. So setting up your local development environment, that's going to be part of the Hello World. So I'm going to put that in rejected. Animations of how Midnight works. If there's anyone in the community that's good at animations, I'm going to put that in the discussion. If there's anyone in the community that's good at animations and stuff, or you have some good AI prompts for Midnight animations, you're welcome to be assigned to the ticket if you want to, because that's I used After Effects like 10 years ago, but definitely have not done that in a while. Let's see, Blockfrost MCP server example. John, I think you're watching, and this was your idea that I saw you on Twitter. If you want to assign yourself to this ticket and like just start populating it, you're welcome to. And then we can see where it goes from there. Web 2 versus Web 3, what you need to know before you start building. Samantha, didn't you do a Web 2 blog?
I did, yeah. But I don't think it was super technical. It was more of like a high level overview of like the concepts and stuff that maybe our Web 2 friends don't quite know yet. So
okay.
Also, speaking of stuff, it looks like. Sorry, go ahead.
Would you be interested in doing a more of a talk on it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. I would love to.
I'll put it in discussion.
Yeah. It also looks like you have a question too, Stev.
Yeah.
Instead of rejecting issues that are similar, what if they got grouped in a folder with an issue that most represents the category so they can see how things are being addressed?
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, you can have parent issues and then create sub issues for them. And I guess that's kind of like scaffolding or foldering, unless there's an actual folder feature on the board. But I think we could do that with parent issues, which is, yeah, I'm happy they mentioned that, because for getting started and stuff, that probably need to be a parent issue. If you don't mind creating a issue on the Community Hub repo, that suggestion, that'll be a good if you want to create an issue on the Community Hub repo for that, that'd be a lovely place to put that to remind us. Yeah, that's a great idea. Compact deep dive technical tips. This is kind of, that needs discussion. That's way too generalized. Test app is too generalized. These are testing issues, which are not needed. Selective disclosure DAP, example using a multi-sig contract. This is a cool one, multi-sig contract, because there is a popular question in Buenos Aires too as well, where people are asking about contract interactions too. But I don't think we have a good defined example of some type of multi-signature interaction. Selective disclosure, compact glossary lending platform. All right, I'll just leave it here. I already put a few in there. But then I'm going to fix the automation to send the ones that are already triaged to triage And then the ones I moved over they haven't been triaged yet, so they would be the next priority in the board. That's kind of how a community board works. And we haven't made a huge campaign about it just yet, but if you're on the call, you can go to Community Hub and, suggest content proposals, bugs you've seen, DAP proposals, documentation improvements. And when the Midnight Docs, which I hear is very, 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 very close to being open sourced, once that gets open source, people would create issues on the Midnight Docs site as well, but it'll still go to the community board too, which is kind of cool. But if you don't know where to create an issue, or it's not specific to a specific repo, you're welcome to use the Community Hub. And that's all I got for you today.
Awesome. Thanks, Dev. I think that was very, very helpful just to see what tickets were in there, as well as hopefully this can become a regular thing as the community starts coming in and adding their issues, adding their ideas, adding their requests, and when we start emoji reacting and everything else, and we can kind of maybe go through that. I feel like that would be super fun. But that was awesome. And thanks for going through, again, all of the tickets and surviving a live demo of trying to get everything to sync. So that was super fun.
No worries. And again, this is your time to play project manager, so create some issues.
Yes. Please. We'll put the link up one more time at the end as well for the community board to have you all join. Awesome. Then we're going to switch gears one more time, and we're going to jump into some updates and a code walkthrough of the Selective Disclosure DAP that I showed you all a couple of weeks ago. I have now published a smart contract in Compact that I'm going to walk you all through today. And again, please note, this is a work in progress, so any feedback that you have, any questions is welcome. Please feel free to put that in the chat. You can reach out later as well as you're looking through the code. But let me share my screen and we can jump into it. Amazing, amazing. All right, so as a quick overview for some of you, if you haven't seen this yet, this is our example proof share DAP that I am working on. This DAP will be a privacy preserving system for sharing sensitive data. So for example, if you are applying for renting an apartment, for example, and you don't want all of your sensitive data to be sent over to the management system and you want to prove that you are eligible, you can do something like that. So we are going to jump into the contract here in Compact. And let's take a look at this. So this contract lets users do three main things. First is registering private data with a cryptographic commitment. Second is authenticating by proving the knowledge of that private data. And then third, sending encrypted data off-chain with an on-chain integrity check. So importantly, none of the actual data here is ever going to be stored on-chain. Only the commitments, user IDs, verification statuses, things like that are going to be recorded. And that is the entire point of this DAP. So let's actually dive into the code here and see what's happening and see how it works, as well as what's kind of coming in the future for this DAP, as well as the contract is now out. Let's first look into our ledger states here first. Here in our ledger states, we are going to define our persistent storage on chain. So we have our user commitments. This is going to map a user's ID to a hash commitment of their private data, and registered users, which tracks whether a user ID has a completed registration or not. This is going to ensure that even though the data isn't stored on chain, we can still validate interactions securely. After that is our constructor. The constructor is empty for now because we're not setting any sort of default state on deployment, but this could change in the future later if maybe we want to initialize things like admin or versioning or things like that. But for now, it's going to be empty and going to remain empty. That's not the important part here. The main parts here are the witness functions and the circuits. So let's jump into the witness functions. As a reminder, witness functions are off-chain helpers that securely provide values to circuits. So this contract has 5 witness functions, and we're going to dive into what each of these do. First, we create a hash commitment from private data and assault. Again, this is going to go to a separate JavaScript function that is off-chain. We then create a proof that someone knows the committed data. This next one here, verify auth proof, is used on chain to confirm that the proof is actually valid. The next one then proves that someone has unencrypted data matching that commitment somewhere. Maybe it's on their machine, maybe it's somewhere in the cloud somewhere else. And lastly, we confirm that the encrypted hash matches the expected one that we're looking for. So all of these functions, again, will happen off-chain, and only the results, so the commitments, the hashes, the Boolean flags, are shared within the contract, and that's what's going to be then returned here for the circuits. So now that we have all of our off-chain functions listed here, let's actually dive into the circuits in this contract. There are 3 circuits that are following the 3 points that I mentioned earlier, which is registering private data, authenticating, and sending encrypted data off-chain. So let's dive into registering first. This first circuit allows a user to register by submitting a hash of their private data. So we first ensure that a user ID isn't already registered. We then save that commitment hash to user commitments. That's the name of the variable there. And then mark the user as registered. Simple, effective, and fast. This is going to create that reference for future authentication or data sharing. The second one is authentication here, as I alluded to. Once registered, a user then can authenticate by providing a zero knowledge proof. So the contract first confirms that the user is registered right here, and then verifies the proof via this is auth valid flag, which is going to be computed off chain. So if that proof checks out, then the circuit succeeds and no private data is revealed. And then lastly, we need to send the data. So this last circuit down here is the heart of the actual data sharing itself. It allows users to send encrypted data off-chain, but still prove on-chain that first, the sender and the recipient are both registered down here. Sender and recipient. And then the encrypted payload hasn't been tampered with at all. So this is integrity valid flag will be computed off-chain, and it represents a verified proof that the unencrypted data matches the expected commitment. So if it's valid, that transaction goes through, and then there will be more code in the future that will actually send that data off-chain to the third party. So as a quick wrap up of this, the key design pattern here is privacy by default. So all private data stays off-chain, and only cryptographic guarantees are brought on-chain. This allows for secure, selective sharing, like proving eligibility or sharing records without exposing sensitive information. So this pattern could be used in scenarios, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, for rental applications. So proving identity, income, maybe background without exposing full information, full documentation until it is actually needed by the apartment complex. Maybe it's healthcare, sharing proofs of vaccination as maybe you are moving over to a new primary care until that actual record is needed by the doctor, just to name 2 of them. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this walkthrough, feedback is welcome, and I would love to hear how you would improve this, as well as how you would build off of this smart contract. But in the future, there will be more code in a fully working dApp. What I am working on next is the actual JavaScript functions that are going to be matching those witness functions. and then diving into actually building out the entire dApp itself. So please keep an eye out for more additions and updates to this dApp as I build them. So let me double check here for any questions. Okay, so proof in authenticate user and send encrypted data circuit is not used. Is this intended? Actually, you're totally right. It is not intended to not be used. I know I was playing around with it a lot to make sure that everything checks, and there could have been some extra variables in there that I played around and didn't change. So I actually appreciate that, Sergey, and I'm I'm going to go in and change that actually. And the witnesses are not used to. Yes. At the moment, again, this is very rough, and I wanted to make sure that I had everything listed out. And as I'm learning a little bit more about Compact as well as how this works, I'm going to actually integrate those witness functions. So one thing at a time. So I do appreciate that no proofs are actually checked in this current version of the contract. So those are the two main things that I'm going to work on for that next time. So thank you, Sergey. All right. And if there aren't any other questions, anything else, that's all we wanted to go over with you all today. If you are interested in taking a look into what we talked about and shared today, we have a couple of resources that we'll put up on the screen. First is our community board and our community hub. Of course, please go in and add those tickets, add those questions, emoji react, comment to really get those ideas out there. And if you're interested in, of course, in diving into one of those, we would love to have that as well as that ProofShare and ProofShare dApp repo that was on GitHub as well that I was just showing you all. And of course, we are still super excited about everything going on within this community. So if you haven't yet, be sure to join our Discord, check out our X, our hackathons. Right now, we have our dev.to hackathon going on, so be sure, check it out, submit your projects. We would love to see what you all are working on. Our forum for technical questions and, of course, our newsletter are also out there as well. So we host these fireside hangs every Wednesday, and the time might change because we are all located all over the world. So keep an eye out for next week's time as well as our agenda. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Bobby, Lee, and Stev, and we'll see you all next.